Hello everybody and welcome back to this tutorial, and right now what we're going to do is we're going to try to finish the entire keylogger, and then in the next video we will test it and see how it will work. So right now let's see what we got for now on. So nano keylogger test.py. This is what we have for now. So there are a few things that we want to implement right here. One thing is the one that we put in the hash, which is the actual writing to a file. We need to make sure to actually write it to a file. Just we will not call the file log.txt since that would be too suspicious. We will try to hide the actual file and we will try to print to that file in, for example, app data directory. We will make a file that will capture keystrokes to be located at the same directory where our copy of our backdoor is located. That's how the user or the target will never be able to find it unless they search for it. We will also name it something different so it doesn't catch any attention. So first of all, our process keys function doesn't really need to print the keys anymore. We only use that to actually test our program. All we need to do right now is add some simple statements for other keys as well. So else if is for the enter, for example. So else if key.enter. And the reason why we are using the key.enter, or let us just keep it like this, we can leave this statement right here to be else for every key that we will need, but for every key that we don't need, such as upper arrows, down arrows, and so on, those are the characters we don't really need to print to the screen, since the upper arrow, the lower arrow really doesn't give us any information. We want to get rid of those characters, so else if key.write for the right arrow, we will just add log equals log plus and then nothing. So we want to add simply nothing. Same we want to do for others, so key.left, log equals log plus nothing. For right as well, so else if key.up equals, or pardon me, equals, let me just see, or not equals right here, we need to type here the two dots. Let me just see, I forgot to add everything right here. So else if key right equals key space, we are processing the keys, else if key equals, okay, so we are forgetting right here to specify that the key is equal to key right, then we want to add nothing to the log. If the key is equal to key left, we also want to add nothing to the actual log. Same for the upper arrow, so if equals to key up, log equals log plus nothing. And the one that we are left will be the else if key equals key dot down, log will be equal to log plus nothing. So simple as that. Let's see if there are any other characters that we can get rid of. For example, enter, we can get rid of it. It doesn't really provide us much of information. Or you can just leave it, it doesn't really matter. Maybe it will provide you information once actually the password is submitted or once the message is sent or so on and so on. So let's leave it just in case. For any other characters that are not these arrows, we want to print the actual string of those characters. As we saw in the previous video, that will be key.ctrl for control, key.backspace for backspace, key.enter for enter, and so on. These arrows won't be printed, and the key.space will have an empty space printed between the characters. So this is our entire actual process keys function. All we want to do right now is create a path that we will actually submit the keystrokes to. So what we want to do is first of all import threading, since we will start a thread in our next function, and we also want to import OS so we can actually get the environment of the app data folder. So we will create a path variable right here to be the os.environ, and then double open quotes, app data, close these square brackets, plus, and then we need to add the open double quotes once again, and between them two backslashes, Oops, between them, not before them. Okay, so between them two backslashes, and we need to specify the name of the file that we want to make in the app data folder. So let's call it in this case process manager.txt. Since this doesn't look suspicious at all, it looks like a normal file such as process manager, and we want to save it under that name. This file in the app data folder, which is the same folder as in the actual previous backdoor creation. You can see it is this path right here, so /appdata/roaming, and there we will have our windows32.txt, which is a copy of our backdoor, and we will also have the process manager.txt, which is an actual file containing the keystrokes. All we need to do right now is actually start this keylogger and save it to an actual file, or save the keystrokes to an actual file. So what we will do is we will make a function called report, which will report every certain period of time. We also need to call that function in the keyboard listener, so before the keyboard listener.join we want to type here report, calling the actual function, and in this function right here we want to access the global variable log, which we created right here and use right here as well, and we also want to access the global variable path, which is the path to our process manager. Then what we want to do, open the path to that file and append to that file. So fin equals open, in the brackets we specify the actual path to be the name of the file, and the append, or a for the actual appending, since we want to append the characters. Then all we want to do is fin.write, and we want to write the actual log to that certain file. Then after we actually write the log, we need to make sure that we clear the log so it doesn't, in the next process of actually writing the log to a file, write the previous stuff as well. Since it will write something, for example, something like this, let's say the target types AAA, then it will write that, it will finish the function, it will go to the beginning, and then let's say the next thing the target types is BBB. It will not write just BBB, it will write another time 3 times A, and then afterwards BBB. So we want to get rid of that, we only want to print everything once, and in order to do that we can just set the log to be equal to empty once again, right after this. Then we can close the actual file. Let me just go down here. After closing the file, we need to call the timer on our actual thread, which will call a timer on the function itself from where it is starting. So we will call it like this, timer equals threading.timer. Every 10 seconds we want to call the report function, and all we want to do is type here timer.start. Another thing we want to do is, before we actually close this program, is we want to make an actual, let me just double check everything right here. Everything seems to work fine, or to be fine. Let's make a function def start, which will take this. So this is a function that will actually start the program itself. Now we need this function in order to be able to call it from our backdoor. Otherwise we will not be able to have a way to call it. And you might notice that we are not running the start function in this program. This is just a program that we will import to our backdoor, which will allow us to use the functions from this program right here. Now the good thing is that all we need to do is access this start function from our backdoor, and it will run the entire rest of the code by itself. As we can see, the actual start function calls the report function, and the report function basically calls the keyboard listener function calls the process keys, and the start function calls the report function. So everything is called within this start function right here. So this is our entire keylogger, I believe. Now we will test it in the next video. So let us save this for now. And in the next video what we will do, first of all, let's rename the keylogger test.py into just keylogger.py, since it is no longer a test file. This is a file right now that we actually want to import to our reverse shell.py, which we will do in the next video. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope I see you in the next lecture. Bye!